Okay, so in this video I want to talk about my new black and gray tattoo, and this tattoo is a xiongnu. A xiongnu is a nomadic warrior that live in Central Asia, between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. And obviously the xiongnu are famous because they have a long war against the Han Chinese, so much from 200 BC all the way to 222 after AD, and then the xiongnu was one part of the xiongnu was pushed out from the Ordos region, and they escaped to like southern Russian steppes, and Ukraine, and then obviously later on some of them come to Hungary, and then obviously they are famous to be called the Huns. One of them come to Iran. They call themselves Hephthalite and Kidarites and other types of Federation nomadic people. And so this is a xiongnu, a warrior that is in a xiongnu empire service, you can probably say. For the reason why I say this, or that I don't say that this is just a xiongnu warrior, because the xiongnu was mixed with different federation of people in their empire, in the nomadic steppe empire. So it's not just Mongolians, it's not just Iranian, it's not just Turkic people. It's mixed of all of these three different people in the federation of this nomadic group. And we also have to think about, when we talk about this kind of thing, it's very important is to understand that many times the xiongnu warriors also do raid specifically against the Han Chinese, and obviously and also against other nomadic neighbor close to them in the Central Asian steppes. And obviously this is a bronze flag, I think belonged to a belt, but they only find this one. This picture I see in a book about the Huns, and so obviously because I like the Huns very much, I'm very interested in the history of the xiongnu, the Huns, the Alans, and the Sarmatian, and the Scythian, other steppe nomadic federations. So I always want to have a tattoo about steppe warrior, and obviously the Huns was always number one for me. And obviously and then obviously connection Huns and xiongnu, because the Han Chinese called the xiongnu for Hanu. And so I see this and I always want this tattoo, and there was never, like, I don't know why it takes so long for me to get this tattoo. So yes, now I have it, so I'm very happy with it. And obviously the thing this guy is holding with one of his hand looks like it's some kind of probably a saber, some kind of like reason why I think the reason why is a hole here you see up here on this. So this is a saber, is because I think originally, because this was an iron plug to a belt, I think the hole was placed there to put in the thing to the belt, so it was close to, so they cannot fall off from the belt. It was like onto the belt for the steppe nomadic warrior. We don't know for 100% certainty that this is made of one of the faction that is working in the xiongnu empire. We don't know that yet. There is also a possibility here that this is from another nomadic group that xiongnu raided and take this as war booty. So it's very complicated to say. So I don't know for certainty if this is made by the xiongnu. It's also it's a big possibility here that this is made from another nomadic tribe that xiongnu attack and take, since before, take as war booty. Because if you look at the art style of the Parthian, and yeah, more like the Parthian, you can see similarity of this style as the Parthian. Obviously, the Parthian also is a federation from Iranian nomadic federation, for example, the Scythians or the Sarmatian. For example, the Rajputs is also a federation for the Sarmatian. So all of this kind of thing is complicated. But the only thing we can say here is for certainty that this is a nomadic is a picture of a nomadic warrior from the Central Asian steppes. The only thing we don't know is if this is from xiongnu or if this is from another group of nomadic people. So yeah, so this is the thing I can say. For there was in nomadic federation also, for example, famously with the Huns later on when they come to Hungary or Poland or like this. The famous thing with them was that they recruit lots of Germanic people to work in their army. For example, the Ostrogoths, then you have the Gepids, and other Germanic people that after the Huns have defeated the Alans in the southern Russian steppes, they attacked the Ostrogoths that were living in Ukraine, close to, obviously, it was before Russia even was Russia, and even Ukraine even existed, because of it was before Ivan the Terrible even be the first Tsar of Russia. So it was long before the Kievan Rus, all this kind of thing. So the and so on, and so between 300 AD, the Huns attacked the Alans, and then after the Alans ran away, they connection with the Ostrogoths, and obviously because the Alans and Ostrogoths have a trading connection before the Huns. It's very hard to say here. Obviously, this now it's turned to be more like obviously a bit of history. But I think it's just important. I want to just explain the history behind it to make it more clearer, that so people do not think that is just, we cannot just say that it's a xiongnu, because we don't know if this is made of from inside the Xiongnu kingdom. There can also be a trading gift to one of the Xiongnu Maudu lord of the Xiongnu Empire. There can be a raid booty, can be lots of different things. We don't know for certainty that this is 100% a Xiongnu warrior. So I also want to say that I'm not certain. I'm only certain that they should depict a nomadic warrior, yeah, and so on. And with all of this, that is important is after some of the Alans flee and push the Ostrogoth, and some of the Ostrogoth kingdom fall. Obviously, the king was killed in the battle against the Huns. But the interesting thing here is that you should think like the Alans have always Alans and the Alans and the Ostrogoth, before them the Dacians and the Sarmatians was in connection with each other. So the interesting factor here is, why was it so that at that time that the Ostrogoths was defeated when they fight against the Huns? You should think like they have probably fight other battles with the Alans, and the Alans use also their recurve bow. Obviously, there can be a different upgrade to the bow with the Huns comparable to the Alans, and maybe was more common from the Huns. that they use laminated armor looks very similar to the Han or Qing army, with the terracotta army, with more like that style of armor. So that can be a possibility that the armor of the Huns was much more upgraded, and their bows was more heavy power bows that can more easily penetrate Ostrogoth chainmail and round shield and this kind of thing. And obviously the Huns also was famous for using the lasso. And I think somebody have to correct me here if I'm saying wrong here. I think the Huns are the only nomadic warriors that use the lasso in battle. I'm probably saying wrong here. Probably say wrong here. The Huns is the only nomadic warriors that use the lasso, because obviously the xiongnu too probably use lasso. But I don't ever hear that the Sarmatian or the Alans or the Scythians or a group that belong to the Scythian or the Sarmatian faction. I never heard about that they use a lasso in battle. I think, or even for the Mongols, or the Wei Empire in China, there was the Turkic nomadic people, the Turkic Khaganate, or the Parthians. That is the only thing I think is the biggest difference with from the Huns to the Sarmatians. For example, the Roxolanas of the Sarmatians are very famous for using very long spears on their cataphracts. So I think that is the correct, that the Huns is famous for the lasso, and they're also famous for the what's his name in English? When they sit on the horse, they have a specific platform. I don't know the name in English, but they make this very easy for the Huns to shoot the bow in from different direction in very high powerful speed. And this can be, yeah. So the whole point is that I cannot say for 100% certainty that this tattoo I have on my arm is a xiongnu warrior. I only can say that this is a warrior that come from Central Asian steppes. I don't know if this is a war booty or is belong to a xiongnu noble warrior. This is the complicated thing here is that is a warrior. This should depict a warrior that that belong to the buckle to the belt. And nomadic warrior was famous to have very beautiful belts to them, because the nomadic warrior are the people that was the first people that used pants on horseback, because it was much easier to not get damage your leg. So they have obviously the pants look very much like cowboy, like almost like cowboy style and cowboy boots. So obviously because the Huns, the xiongnu, the Parthians, the Alans, the Kidarites, all of the nomadic people, warrior on horseback, have a specific style. And the nomadic warrior, their whole lifestyle was on the horse, hunting, warfare, trading, and even other things. That lots of things. Because you have also remember you can move very quickly to place on horseback. That makes it you have more advantage against people that fight on foot soldiers, because you can move around them very quickly, and specifically if you have a bow that can penetrate shields and chainmail that many warriors at that time use, or they use laminated armor or scaled armor and all of this kind of thing. Yeah, so this is a nomadic warrior that looks like holding a saber with one of his hands, The other part of the hand is missing, obviously from the picture of the bronze buckle for the belt. It's obviously in the book they say that this is a xiongnu, belong to a xiongnu, warrior from the Central Asian steppe, they say. Or something between there and the xiongnu. But obviously that timeline is the famous timeline for the Xiongnu Empire, and obviously it was under the Han Dynasty Xiongnu started to be more powerful at the time, because under the Qin Dynasty was too complicated, because the Qin army was so big, but the Qin army only was successful as long as the time when Shi Huangdi was ruling that empire. When he died, the empire was really quickly falling down, because the whole destruction of Shi Huangdi's policy of rootlessness politics to control the farmer, to force them to build the wall, but not the wall that you think of. It's not the wall you see when you go to China. The wall you see when you go to China, this under the Ming Dynasty. They start to build the long wall with these kind of stones. That the original walls in China from like 3 to 2 before Christ was made of hardened earth, stamped earth. So all of this kind of thing is much later on. We see the high protection thing obviously against the steppe nomadic people. So we know lots of the time just nomadic people just come into China in many different ways. It was very easy for them, like the Mongols with the Kublai Khan later on, the Wei, Turkic nomadic people, then obviously Wei, the Mongols, Yuan, the Wei dynasty, the Tanguts, different kingdom obviously in China. So anyway, so all of this is obviously very interesting when we look at art from the Xiongnu Empire, and art from the Han Dynasty, and art from other Iranian or Turkic nomadic people. And we also have to think about the art and also about the trade with the art. So obviously, many people that do trade with other people, obviously, then later on copy their styles and made them themselves, but in their traders' design before, because they see the design so many times of art form and so on. And obviously, and connection and this kind of thing. So this is everything I really want to say about my black and gray tattoo. I'm very happy with it. I'm very nice. I think I'm very happy. So hope you like this video. My talk about this tattoo, the history behind it, and some of the background talk. Okay, bye.